Hi, welcome to Illuminated Tarot. My name is Jenna. Today I'm here to do a collective reading for you all for the week of December 8th through the 14th. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day whenever this finds you, morning, noon, or night. I don't know why I'm saying noon. Some of you are watching this. Maybe I'm going to be launching at noon here on the East Coast of the States. We've got a couple things going on in the skies this week I wanted to make mention post Gemini full moon. We have Neptune finally going direct this week. I believe that's on the 10th. It's been in retrograde for 5 months, which I think has allowed us to kind of cull and churn and go deeper into what was hidden beneath the surface in some of our connections. Truth came to light. We became more greatly illuminated around, we'll say, galactic intelligence. I think our minds are being opened up a bit beyond the minutia and the multitasking of our daily lives. We're broadening our scope and we are reframing the way we live. So I think that this Neptune going direct is going to provide a lot of clarity for us about what we want to be birthing in the new year. We also have a square going on at 90 degrees between Mars and Saturn, which some people in the astrological world don't feel like that's really good. It could bring about some challenging energies, but I feel as though this is that last call to learn what needs to be learned as we wrap up this really intense number 9 year as far as numerology, and we learn what needs to be learned. We elevate, we integrate, we embrace all of it. And then we set our sights on what we want to bring forth in the new year, what we want to midwife in our careers and our relationships. And I think this is always a hard year for everyone because there are people that we miss. There are traditions that we are embracing, and there's a lot of merriment as well. But I think it's almost like this juxtaposition of energies. So I wanted to talk to you about this beautiful author that I came across and her work about this link that we have with nature and how it is our greatest teacher. I'll always consider her the reason why I came to this planet was for her. So let's read a little bit about December through the eyes of Bridget Anna McNeil. December carries a kind of beauty that does not demand to be seen. It is the beauty of embers rather than flames, of roots rather than blossoms, of slow breath rather than spectacle. In the old folk calendars, December belonged to the great womb of the year, where the light sinks into the soil and the world becomes a listening place. A time when the boundary between the seen and unseen thins. A time when stories move like animals across the thresholds of our lives, soft-footed and watchful. Nature knows how to open to this darkness. Trees turn their energy inward. Their fallen leaves become a winter quilt, fermenting into warm, rich hummus for their babies as they meet their own roots once more. In the underworld of soil, they braid themselves deeper into the fungal networks that carry the future. Think of that. That's what we're doing now as humans. Animals shift their rhythms, following a different intelligence. Let's learn from them. One that rests, one that remembers the old pace of winter. Even our own bodies change. Our melatonin rises earlier. Our nervous systems lean toward quiet. Our dreams even grow longer, which I thought was interesting. This is biology's way of bringing us deeper into ourselves. Winter is not a mistake. It is an invitation. December asks us to lean into the slowness we have been taught to resist. It asks us to descend into our own roots, to notice what still glows inside us when the days grow short. It asks us to honor our need for rest, warmth, story, and silence. The earth teaches us that the unseen months matter, that healing deepens in the dark. In the language of plants, this month is a root song. I thought this was really cool about some of the more common plants that we recognize and honor over Yuletide and the holiday season. Outside, the land offers its own teachings. Look at Holly, how she holds her berries against the dark, each bead a pulse of persistence. The old herbalist believed holly protected the heart from spiritual cold. Science tells us her evergreen leaves pull minerals through the soil, even in midwinter, feeding birds when little else remains. Evergreen as guardian, evergreen as giver. December asks something subtle of us. The world around us brightens and gathers itself into celebration, full of invitations and expectation. Yet the season itself leans inward, asking for quiet, for warmth, for the kind of listening that can only happen when life slows down. We are asked to stand at this meeting point between the outward pulse of culture and the inward pull of the land, between the sparkle and the soil. It is not easy. Yet there's a way to move outward with intention and inward with devotion, to let the gatherings be moments of connection and the solitude be moments of return, to allow ourselves both light and shadow, warmth and quiet, kinship and stillness. Perhaps this is December's real gift, not a demand, but a permission, a reminder that we can belong to the world without abandoning ourselves, that the tender things growing in us still need a nest, even as we step into the bright rooms of winter, and that there is space, always, for both the outward glow and the inward ember. It feels like a time made for stories, the kind spoken in low voices beside a flame, and the kind that rise unbidden from the deep rooms of the heart. This season invites us to listen, not for conclusions or answers, but for the quiet wisdom woven through the tales we've lived. The quiet wisdom woven through the tales we've lived. And perhaps, too, to tell our stories back to ourselves with tenderness so we can understand them in a new light. May this month hold you as the earth holds its seeds, in darkness that nourishes, in warmth that protects, in the soft cradle where every story can breathe and find its own shape. May this month hold you the way the earth holds seeds, in safety, in darkness, and promise. May you feel the beauty and rest. May you listen to the quiet woodland inside you. May something small but luminous grow. Yeah, her book is coming out, The Wild Within. Can't wait to read that on March 3rd. And she marries both the growth and the growth process of the plant kingdom as a metaphor for our growth process in the animal kingdom, of which we belong. So, speaking of belonging, let's now go into the belongingness of the rest of this reading. Terrible dad joke. Thank you for being here, though. I already said that once, but it still amazes me the beauty that we find when we come together with like-minded people. And although there is a distance between you and I, when it comes to our paths physically crossing, energetically, we've been crossing again and again and again, and we will continue to do so in this beautiful dance of energy. So let's now go into the Queen of the Sun and the Queen of the Moon and call Spirit in and get to this reading. Thank you, Spirit, for presiding over the reading for this week, for the collective. Thank you for your divine presence, for the peace that you bring. Okay. Let's see what wants to come out for the week's energies. For the collective tuning in. What wants to come out for the week's energies? Darkness, of course. Of course. This is leading up to the winter solstice, if I can say that. Long night moon. We have numerology 40. It's a 0 point. It's a rite of passage. Darkness. I love that. It really reframes darkness, doesn't it? Because we have this perception, a lot of us, darkness being something that is, I remember when I was a kid, I was afraid of the boogeyman, like most kids. I didn't want to have anything hanging off the bed. Never, ever, ever. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of the darkness. And I think the more we embrace our own darkness, which really is just our collective wound of separation, of which is not true, Many of the things we grow up fearing are in fact not true. It's interesting. Spirit is saying we don't need to fear the darkness. It's been a great teacher this year. And that as we enter more of a time period of darkness, there is a curiosity and innocence with these two rabbit ears. It's interesting. I actually woke up at 4 a.m. on, this would be Saturday morning. No, Sunday morning. My apologies. And stayed awake. And when I went out to let my dog out, the moon was beautiful, 4 a.m. And I had a moment with a rabbit in the street, and we just stared at each other. And it was almost as if I was like, this is your territory right now, right? I'm invading your domain. And the rabbit just looked at me just innocently. There's an innocence in the darkness, in the quiet, in the silence. So make your time for that this week. Make yourself available for more periods of silence and solitude so you can maybe even cherish and relish some of the things that your body may signal to you, your soul. I woke up 4 a.m. Let's do this. Let's start the day. Very unusual. I can't believe I actually woke up and was awake for the day. I did take a nap. But many of you may be called to a new rhythm or a new moment to bond with the darkness this week. Mind, body, or soul. There's all kinds of ways we can greet this energy. Darkness. But I'm getting mostly there's nothing to be afraid of. In that moment, a lot of people would wake up and be afraid, perhaps, of what lies in the dark. But there's a lot of magic at that hour, at that time. Especially on a recent super full moon. Oh, and we have abundance. She's cradling the animal, nature, plant kingdom, the great bounty, the abundance that the earth provides. Think about it. Look around where you are right now. Just look around. Everything you see, everything you inhabit came from the earth and/or someone's mind, the collective consciousness, birthed that dream, whether it was a lamp, if we're talking about our physical worlds. But you look at the beauty of a tree or of an animal, and you just marvel at it all. This is the hunter's moon. I feel like there's a beautiful, just like, and she's holding a fox. Be strategic. I think, too, it's about honoring our wild natures. She's embracing a fox, which is, in my feeling and sense here, and it's 38, which goes into 11. There's this level of abundance that we feel when we are deeply connected to nature. And I feel as though many of you who are drawn to this reading today, I feel like I'm really leaning into a collective who has such a deep reverence for this planet and wants to build new worlds around honoring that. We lost sight of that. We lost touch with that. And perhaps part of the new earth, the new world, what you could be dreaming new dreams into being in shape and form at this time could be around getting back to the land or honoring how much you've been devoted to the land. The fertile land within you, and a feeling of abundance in your own energy, and also the fertility of what the earth provides. Feels like there's a deep reckoning and honoring. It's interesting. Each card wants to be slowly digested today and honored. And perhaps that's the nature of December. Yeah. That we are too moving. Yeah. We're moving beyond a cycle in our chariots. 27 going into 9. Wow. So we're going through a beautiful rite of passage through this dark period, which is a time to slow down, to sit beside the hearth of our tales, of our stories, to commune with loved ones, to honor what we've experienced, to tap into the abundance that nature provides. And this is the great central sun. I was reading too recently that one reason why we're having all of these solar flares, So the sun goes through an 11-year cycle, and then it reaches its maximum solar peak, and that's where we are right now. And it's this opportunity for us to really shift. Some of you have been going through some glitches in technology. These geomagnetic storms bring about a lot. I'll be talking more about that in the next mentorship transmission in the membership portal. But the sun is guiding us right now, as much as the moon, in these two polarities of both light and shadow. And, logic and intuition during Sagittarius season, it really is a blend of tempering both energies. And like the rider here in the chariot, he's being led and guided to a lofty position here, letting his illumination guide him. He's in the clouds. And I think too, as Neptune is moving direct, the clouds may be parting around your direction. What is going to bring about your own abundance? You could be deeply contemplating that this week. Let's bring in an animal spirit. Before we bring in the tarot, I want an animal guide. Panda, boundaries. And what didn't I say recently? It was the full moon guidance. I think that was the biggest lesson when I was doing the Gemini full supermoon poll. I did a check-in a few days ago. If you haven't seen that, I decided just to drop in and see what wanted to come forward, what this full moon was teaching us. But Panda, I think that the biggest lesson that, at least for my own path, many of you can resonate with this, was around boundaries. Let's read this, what Panda has to say. And then they're mentioning Panda has both black and white, light and shadow. Your space is sacred. Guests who overstay their welcome impact your aura, and you have every right to stand your ground. Your needs are important. You must nurture your soul with the same gentle love and support you offer to others. All right, Panda. Very true. And I think that's what we've learned. And then we have Tiger, patience, these are both very strong Sagittarian energies. And then we have abundance, which is the Jupiterian pull, which not Saturn. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. You are being reminded that persistence, and we also have the tiger has that stripe. See, we're just seeing this repeated. You are being reminded that persistence is what is necessary to attain your goals. You need to be patient. So your abundance, right? Your divine inheritance of living an abundant life, it requires patience and it requires trust. You are being reminded that persistence is what is necessary to attain your goals. You need to be patient and trust that the universe will help you through your challenges and divine timing. Success is guaranteed. Yeah. So I like this. We've learned how to set boundaries, and we've learned how to be more patient around what we're creating. I think anything that, I was actually in dialogue over the weekend about how even this very channel, when I first started, I think sometimes you have to have that fool's energy to start something where you're not even thinking about like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I at least wasn't. I just love tarot, and I just didn't want to stop talking about it. And I realized that I could turn my obsession and passion into a relationship with the collective. And the deeper I've gone in my own journey, I feel the collective has gone deeper. And it's just been this beautiful dance all these last 2 years, as I'm about 2 years in to this journey. And I think that sometimes when you start something, take an innocent, gentle approach and do it for the love of it, for the fun of it. And then in time, you'll realize, oh, wow, I'm really devoted and committed to this, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I think there's different energies that are required of different stages of goals that we set, whether it's I want to be healthier, I want to feel better in my body, I want to navigate my, emotional intelligence and learn how to mature in the way I show up and heal some of my wounds so I can actually create a lot of deep, healthy connection with others. Well, all these things that are asked of us on the spiritual path. So let's pull some tarot in. I love what's been coming forward today. It's like a gentle ride in the chariot in the sky, Remember that song? I was kind of obsessed with the song Chariots of Fire when I was younger. It's reminding me of that. Chariots of Fire. And then we have this fire horse, yeah? We're being led straight into the fire horse energy that's coming in. I think we're going to be feeling it really loudly starting in January. It's shifting in February for the Chinese New Year, but I do believe that we're getting kind of a snapshot of that now. And we're feeling like this momentum and this acceleration and this excitement over what we're birthing, what we're midwiving for the new year. And their spirit is telling us, honor your boundaries, honor your energy, and exercise patience in your life goals. All right, let's pull the tarot. Whoa. 2 of Wands, and there we have. This is a transitionary energy. We have not yet arrived in the new year yet. And these next few weeks, I believe, are important pauses to wrap up 2025. Knowing that we have an elevated point of view when we look out at the expanse of our lives and the waters are calm and the mountains are further away. And he's standing here poised and ready, but he's waiting for a moment before he begins his journey. 2 of Wands. I think a lot of us are stepping into elevated frequencies, but there's a pause to integrate the old frequency fully. And also they're saying some of us, it's not exactly the pause. It takes time to integrate higher dimensional frequencies. You can't just plug right into a high frequency. You will actually, burn out. It's not good for the body. So it's almost like we're getting like a gentle roll. Just let it come in slowly, like a tide. I saw yesterday a surfer ride like the biggest tube on a GoPro. And I was just fascinated by how long a wave can last. So it's like we're riding this collective wave and we're in the middle of the tube. And it's just like, enjoy it. Enjoy your senses. And pretty soon we're going to be spit out. And that's going to be that New Year's energy. But for now, we're in the middle of that. Going through a transition. Many of you are going through this beautiful, fiery transition in your bodies. Out of the 5 of Pentacles. I feel like we're moving beyond separation as a collective. And we've also had to leave some things behind. And it didn't feel good. But we're trying to put it behind us. 5 of Pentacles. And this is also a time of celebration. Many of you are gathering with friends and family. You're talking about your experiences of the year. You're telling your stories. You're having fun, having a good time. And happy birthday to all of your Sagittarians having birthdays this week and beyond. Any Sagittarius sun, happy birthday. I love this. We're getting a beautiful display. I feel like when we're balanced as a collective, we get a snapshot of each element for the weekly reading. It means we're being mindful of creating and restoring balance in our lives. So in our fire energy, we're in a pause. We're elevating and integrating these new energies, much like when you see an electric car being plugged in. We're upgrading the software and we are aligning with higher energies, and it takes time to integrate and restore our batteries, so to speak. Then we have the 5 of Pentacles in our earthbound energy, which is a pulling back and a withdrawal, a retreat of energy. And it's also it's an opportunity for us to take a look at where we believe scarcity still exists in our lives. From some of us, a monetary perspective, some of us, a time perspective. And then we have in our emotional energy a feeling of celebration, of jubilee, of delight, of social gatherings. Let's see if we get any air, of which we had that Gemini full moon. Let's see if air wants to come out. No, more earth. I love it. Now we have 3 of Pentacles. It's coming out a lot in all my readings lately. So the 3 of Pentacles is obviously an earth energy, but it's a time period of coming together with like minds, like souls to build something. And they're looking at the plans. In the old, medieval tarot, this is a church. And they're coming together of 2 people that are trying to help this group of craftsmen? What can I do to help? How can I be of service? So some of you are actually helping people who are less fortunate. You're getting together with friends. It's like, as we say goodbye to this past year, be mindful of what you have. Be mindful of people who don't have what you have. Appreciate and show gratitude for your connections. And focus your efforts on helping other people this week. Even if it means as you go about work, as you go about anything you have planned, bring everything you can in your own grounded frequency, in your own grounded state, in your emotions. So we have the 3 and the 5, which is the 8 of Pentacles, which is the work we've done to even arrive in this time-space continuum and the frequencies that we are. I'm fascinated there's not a major coming out post full moon. Last one. There's more water energy. Now we have the 7. Sorry, didn't mean to hit that rock. We have the 7 of Cups with the 3 of Cups. And the 7 of Cups has been coming out. I think this is that direct energy we're seeing of coming out of this Neptunian energy in retrograde. And I think that we always have a lot of choice when it comes to timelines. And Spirit is trying to call on us to actually pull our energy back, regroup. We're wrapping up a cycle. We're focusing on the abundance we want to call in. And we're looking to other people for help with that. Okay, this is when we have others. It's not just you and Spirit. It's you, Spirit, and other people. And the choices that you want to make moving forward. Interesting how we have a 10 of Cup energy, but it's coming by way of relying on other people. Maybe in ways that you're not used to. We're coming out of maybe a little bit of emotional overwhelm for many of us around whatever we've had to release. Some of this is around our friendships. Some of this is around work. Putting up healthy boundaries. It's very important. Let me clarify. I'm just going to clarify this. There's no majors. Usually there's one major that pops out. So these are really subtle energies at play this week. Nothing glaringly obvious for many of us. It's a week to consider your social circle. Help the less fortunate. Understand you're going through a spiritual transition. Look at what you want to build. And try not to cloud your judgment with getting overwhelmed with too many of the details. Let's get some advice. Coupled with clarification here. What do you really want us to know about the week's energies? The Observer, Page of Swords. This is also gathering the facts, the details, doing the research. This is also the card of communication. Why is the Page of Swords here? Knight of Swords. There's all the air. Like, we're giving you the advice with the air energy now. I was like a little worried. Like, where's the, maybe that's a good thing. We're not as much in our minds. But I think this is, this is a survey kind of approach. Oh, I thought that did a 180, but I think it got lost back on the deck. We have the 9 of Pentacles coming out. Wonderful. So I think that much like the panda spoke about around boundaries. Guests who overstay their welcome impact your aura. Oh my God. Impact your aura. And you have every right to stand your ground. I think that if you're undergoing any kind of confusion around anyone in your life that is making you feel rejected, Spirit is saying, look at it. It's time to put something behind you. You understand, what it served. I'm seeing 29, 2 on the clock. There's a karmic endpoint here with some of our connections. And some of you have already done a lot of the cleanup work. You've learning and growing here about what needs to be moved beyond, moved past. This is also many of us who are being called to go toward a new dream for our purposes. All right. 9 of Pentacles is the dream of living an abundant timeline and moving forward and going for it with the Knight of Swords. I think that we're all being called to really push forward with our goals, plans, and dreams. And to learn what we needed to learn as far as our past connections. it's interesting because I was just tapping and I wanted to pause for a moment to listen what they're really trying to say. They said, we are our own heroes. You're not here to prove anything to anybody. Be the hero of your own life. Be the person with integrity, with ethics, morals, and values that are here to help uplift the planet. It's like we're all being tapped by spirit to come out of feelings of rejection and confusion and illusion, and to learn from that pathway. But recognize too, at the end of the day, that we deserve to live independent lives that are full of abundance. And we're being pushed right now. When I clarify to give advice around this energy, around this collective energy, around communion and coming together in community and feeling less alone on the path, and coming out of any confusion around putting up boundaries and being patient, tapping into the darkness and the abundance that is held within the darkness. We're moving forward more sovereign, more grounded. What's the frequency? Sensuality. Interesting. And union. Some of this has to do with our closest partnerships. The frequency of sensuality reminds us that as spirits in human bodies, we are sensual beings experiencing joy and pleasure from the physical world through our senses. Yeah. And I was talking about that, how we need to be more mindful of through the simplicity of life. And that the more awake you become, the more slow and more mindful you live your days. The true Buddhist path, the true, deepest spiritual pathways that we learn by, even in the Ascended Master path, very, very mindful do they move through the world and through the hours and the days. And we have 9 again, coupled with 4 again. Now we have 444 and we have 9 twice. And then we have union. The energy of union activates our ability to unite our outer and inner aspects toward a state of wholeness. Yeah. The marriage of inner and outer, logic and intuition, shadow and light, is a holy union. And I do believe that state of wholeness comes from being able to modulate your energy, because there are times when I'm really in my feminine energy and there are times when I'm really in my masculine energy. And it's nice to be adaptable and flexible. And I believe that future human that we're all becoming, it's non-dualistic, but it's an integrated whole of both. It becomes a third. That's what the tribe was like. And I felt like I was trying to get to the depth of this reading, and I just got it. By creating an integration of both polarities, we become a third energy, which is wholeness. The integration of wholeness of opposites. Powerful. This is big, what's going on this season, all right? Took me a minute. Thank you, Spirit. I needed that help with the union and sensuality to step forward. Today I'm reading from Soul Guidance. I do follow this individual, on social media. I'm not on social media, but I pulled from this book to see what today's energy was. So let's read December 8th. Linear time constructs are fading, and your time concepts are shifting. The momentum of time is changing as you vibrate higher and become less concerned with it. Isn't that true? When you do check the time, you notice how slowly or quickly it has passed in comparison to your internal clock. Eating and sleeping no longer happen at the designated times. Perhaps why I woke up at 4 a.m. yesterday. Eating happens when you're hungry, even if that's in the middle of the night. Sleeping happens when you're physically tired, not because it's nighttime. You may have noticed that you need less of both. Your body is reassigning your sources of energy as you evolve into more crystalline frequencies. This evolution of time is aligning you with many new frequencies. Effortlessly, see the new frequency of integration. Effortlessly, as you focus more on being here now. Expect alignments, magic, and miraculous events as you experience more of this new time-space reality. And then the affirmation for the week: I create my own perception of time and live by my own clock. Wow. Beautiful. Let's now get a final pull with the Inner Temple Oracle. Interesting. I love it. We are now becoming a deeply integrated inner and outer state of wholeness. And we're learning to recognize the beauty and the delight of all of our senses And the world becomes a more sensual experience, the experience of the world. Romanticizing life, eh? At the end of the year. I love this. Soul retrieval. Interesting. Soul retrieval is coming forward as the inner temple oracle for the week. Let's see this. Soul retrieval is part of the suit of the activation. Okay. So we're being activated 78, 5, 6. And that's the energy of 6 is always about our deepest connections. All right. 78. Sorry, I was just doing the numerology, which I know many of you do naturally. Always counting numbers in our heads. Soul retrieval. This card can appear for two reasons. Firstly, because a lost part of your soul is wanting to return home to you. Yeah, maybe that's what that 7 of Cups energy is more so around. The parts of ourselves when we became fragmented and disconnected. We're retrieving in the darkness. This card can appear for two reasons. Firstly, because a lost part of your soul is wanting to return home to you. Sometimes the loss, shame, or hurt we experience is too great, and part of our soul leaves our body. When this happens, it can feel like part of us is missing, or as if we're not quite ourselves. Secondly, it can be because your soul is trying to get your attention. Perhaps you've been spending too much time living from your head rather than your heart. Maybe your soul is longing for you to listen to it, to express it, to spend time with it. This card could come as a warning to wake up and remember the soul. The soul can be likened to both the ancient wise part of you and the divine child within. I like that. The ancient Greeks spoke of two different types of time. Chronos time and Kairos time. I think I'm saying that right. Chronos time is linear time, logical time, the time of the mind. Kairos time is soul time, creative time, mystical time. This card is inviting you to spend more time here in a Kairos time. What does your soul most want you to do? What's your soul most yearning for? See, we're being more soul-led. That's the new human. We're listening to the lens of the soul more. How do you feel most connected to your soul? How can you call more and more of your soul back into your body in the center of your life? The inner temple activation is, I call all parts of my soul to be here now. Wow. Okay. We're doing deep soul retrieval work this week, and we need to be patient. We're entering a new time-space reality where we're actually honoring the needs of our soul on a very profound level. It's a whole different way of being. Wow, this is profound. The readings are getting deeper. Very, very deep. Deeper. Think about it. I should go back and read like the final weeks of my polls a year ago and where we're being led in our evolutionary journey together as a collective. Soul aligned through the retrieval of parts of ourselves that we disconnected from because it was too overwhelming at the time. Deeply healing week. I hope that you enjoyed this transmission. I'm starting thank you for being here. This concludes our reading. So I want to thank everyone who has felt called in the last month to be a part of the membership. It's been incredible. I've pulled back and slowed down a little bit there. I'm also excited to announce that I'm going to be doing extended, more soul level guidance that's going the deepest layer possible. I'm going to be going deep in the channel readings for the annuals. Those are forthcoming. I'm starting them this week. There's been a lot of preparation because I'm doing the astrology for each sign too. So more than I've ever done for an annual reading. So I'm going to give you a snapshot of your astrology for the year, what you can anticipate. I'm synthesizing that information for you. I'm going to be pulling different guides that are going to help guide you through. We're going to be doing a seasonal arc. And then we're going to be doing advice from Spirit for each season. And then instead of clarifying a lot of the cards, which I do on the channel, I am going to go one step beyond that and have soul inquiry questions for each season. And that's going to be a part of the membership container. It's one fee. You're getting a mentorship for that. You're going to be getting extended for every annual reading. We're going live once a month. Our first live is on the winter solstice. So if you do feel called to spend a little extra money for your own soul's evolution and you want to be part of the community I've created, that's called the Illuminated Collective. All of that's in the description box below. I have a whole webpage on it. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of it. There's some big things in the works for that. But again, you're still going to get this really beautiful readings for free. My bread and butter, my passion will always be the channel. I just wanted to go deeper and help guide people who feel very called to deepen at an accelerated rate beyond the channel's guidance. So, thank you for being here, you all. From my heart to yours, from my corner of this world to yours. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Namaste.